Hey, welcome. I'm Owen Anderson. I'm a professor of philosophy, and I wanted to show you this clip. I actually saw it on the Matt Walsh show, but there's some things I wanted to mention about it that Matt didn't get to. It's on Bill Maher. He has on this fellow Chris Hayes, who's a host on MSNBC, which no one watches anymore. But somehow he got on to Bill Maher, and he's talking about how the Democrats can win going forward. And he has a solution that he calls patriotic pluralism. He wants to replace DEI, that phrase, with patriotic pluralism. Now, this is something I've been warning about as a professor at Arizona State University. I've been warning that universities are simply going to keep the philosophy behind DEI and just change the name. And I wouldn't be surprised if patriotic pluralism is a contender, but it's still the same philosophy, which is discrimination against people based on their skin color. For example, a white conservative cisgendered man is a oppressor. So you know that not by knowing anything about his history or his character, you know that just because of his skin color. But what Chris Hayes tries to do is pretend like this has always just been the libertarian view. And the Democrats are just libertarians who say parents should be able to do whatever they want for their children. That's laughable since since Democrats have been pushing their liberal agenda on students in K through 12 and saying that students aren't under their parents' care, children aren't under their parents' care, the government and experts are in charge. So let's listen to this, and I want to comment to see, have the Democrats always just been libertarians?
I also think at the same time, there is a message of what I would call like common sense patriotic pluralism. Yeah. That is a majority message, which is like, if some father and mother have health care for their kid lined up who's trans, just stay the out of their business. Like, and let them make that decision. That's their decision to make. And you don't have to make that for your family. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Well, I mean, the argument is whether the child should make the decision.
But the child is never making the decision. The parents are always making the decision. Parents consent to medical care.
Well, here in California, you're allowed to hide it from the parents if the kid is.
Yes.
Thank you, one person who knows that. I mean, somebody knows that.
Yeah, so Bill Maher got him right there. But it's interesting. Bill Maher said, yeah, agreed with him on this idea of patriotic pluralism. And what Chris Hayes is saying, two false things. One is it's up to the kid, or it's up to the parents, not the kid. And Bill Maher points out, no, in places like California, that's not true. And the parents are only doing it because the kid says, I'm confused about my gender. But here's the point I wanted to make. Imagine what he's claiming about the pluralist position. He gives a little more definition.
Because I think in the vast majority, we've been hearing from parents right now whose kids' medical care has been interrupted. I think there's a way to talk about.
Well, of course, they would say it's not medical care. They would say it's
That's what they're saying.
Disfiguring a child.
I think they should mind their own business. I really do. I think they should mind their own business.
That's key. So Bill Maher correctly points out what he's saying parents should be free to do. After Democrats saying parents should not be free to educate their children in the religion they want, what they're now saying is, Chris Hayes, they should be free, though, to chemically castrate and amputate a minor who is confused about what gender is, not send them to a therapist to help settle that matter of what gender is and help them live in their body, but cut off healthy parts of the body. That's up to the parents. Look at his hands. Just let them do what they want to do and stay the blank out. That's not been the libertarian view. So he's trying to confuse you and say, well, that's just what libertarians say. No, no libertarian says parents should be free to abuse their children and you just leave them alone. Just let them do whatever they want. Parents aren't free to do that. And it is the child who's saying to the parents, I want this. And then because I'm confused, and the parents say, well, the solution to your confusion is to chop off healthy parts of your body. Instead of saying, well, the solution to your confusion is to get therapy and see a doctor to help you understand and straighten out how to not be in gender dysphoria. So what he's trying to come across as very innocent, just live and let live. What he calls live and let live, and the euphemism healthcare, is this horrible abuse of a child. And yet you'll have someone like Chris Hayes, he doesn't say this in this argument, but you'll hear people like him say this, to teach a child to love Christ and listen to the Bible, they'll call that abusive. and say the experts in education need to take that away from parents. But this parent over here who just wants health care for their child, just let them live. You can do what you want. Let them live. No, because that's causing lifelong damage to a child who doesn't understand all the things going into that choice. So he can look like he's just saying live and let live. He's not saying that. The lines are clearly drawn between godless and permitting parents to chemically castrate children, children who aren't yet able to make those kinds of choices in any other area of our life, versus parents who say, I want control of my child's education so that I can teach them my religious values. And Democrats are fighting against that as hard as they can. So Democrats will never be the party of libertarianism. Don't let them fool you on that. And patriotic pluralism, if patriotic pluralism is just a euphemism for chemically castrating minors who are confused, then we don't want patriotic pluralism any more than we want DEI. Thanks for joining me.